I do like me a Pacific Seacraft. The build quality just feels very robust. It's not very common to see these.
What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be looking at a 1994 Pacific Seacraft 37. I'm excited to show you all because these are high quality pocket cruisers built to go anywhere, and you can usually get a hold of them relatively affordably for what they are. This one is ready to sail and it's in relatively good shape. However, it does need some work done like any old boat. Real quick, before we get to the tour, remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're enjoying these videos, it really helps us a lot. It's the best way to support this channel, so thank you in advance. And without further ado, let's get to the tour. One more quick thing I promised. We purchased a property. We're getting to work building a home base on that land and filming it all on a separate channel. If you're interested in following along with that, be sure to subscribe to Learning the Lands.
All right, everybody, I just stepped aboard, and as always, we're going to go forward first. And first things I notice going forward is this deck is solid. Pretty decently wide side deck, not hugely wide, but you do have really high bulwarks. And then you do have cleats that are right there on top of that bulwark, so that's really nice. You're not going to trip on them going forward. I like that a lot. And then you have outboard shrouds and places to hold on to. Just a really safe and clear path forward when you need to do that when you're underway. Looking at the rig, we do have a slab reef main with lazy jacks, dodger back there, main sheet forward. All lines look like they lead aft on the coach roof here. And then you've got a couple door aids and a couple hatches for ventilation. Continuing forward, again, easy to walk forward on this boat. It is a cutter rig. You got both a roller furling headsail and a staysail, 4 individual cleats up here on the bow, and a horizontal windlass foot controls right there. There's that windlass without the cover. Now that is definitely a good windlass right there. You actually have 2 hawse holes and hawse pipes for 2 anchors, so that's pretty cool. It is only set up with 1, but still pretty cool. Looking aft, very pretty boat. I do like me a Pacific Seacraft for sure. They make great quality boats, blue water boats. Very nice. And continuing aft, there's jack lines rigged up right there, still on the boat. Looking up the rig, it's actually a single spreader cutter rig. Got a pole on the front there. Continuing aft, again, easy to go forward and aft, and you've got both a headsail and a staysail track right here for lots of adjustment for your sails, for your head sails. Continuing aft, this is a canoe stern boat, so as you guys can see, comes to a point back here on the stern, but for a canoe stern, still a pretty decent sized cockpit. And there's a little spit of an aft deck right here with a locker and your propane bottle back here. And then you've got your radar is actually on the backstay on this, kind of like a gimbal right there, which is pretty cool. I've seen that before. I like it a lot. And yeah, there's your backstay, single backstay. And then a ladder off the back. And there's also a hawse hole for a stern anchor with a stern anchor right there. Very clever, and like kind of a stern anchor roller for the chain. Very cool. Cleats back here. And then your cockpit. There's your pedestal, Raymarine instruments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 winches back here. And not including that stern locker, there's 3 cockpit lockers, so realistically 4 lockers back here. So lots of storage. Big lockers too. Very nice. And no locker here on the port side. That's where your quarter berth is going to be. But then from the helm, got good visibility over the Dodger. And the Dodger, you know, has a UV cover on it right now, but you've got good visibility when you're sitting as well. And then engine controls forward of the pedestal. I did notice that there is a hatch right here, so I believe that's going to be engine access. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that up and show you guys. So that's cool. I just pulled the cabin sole up. Not something you see in most boats. Definitely nice to have for engine access. And then you can see the back half of the engine right there, transmission, stuffing box, and obviously your drive shaft. Diesel tank right there. Very nice. Really good access. And I like being able to have the option of, you know, pulling up the cabin sole. That's really cool. And you guys will see later in the video, you can also access the front of the engine from inside the boat. So I went ahead and put the cockpit sole back in, and with that, guys, I think it's time to go down below. Alrighty, I just got down below, and yeah, this is a very cozy boat. Good quality woodwork all around. The build quality just feels very robust. I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way forward like we normally do. Take a look at what we got going on up here. And there is a relatively small V-berth. Pullman style, it is to one side. And there is a little seat right there as well. Again, very cozy, good for a single person or a couple that, you know, likes each other. And you can close this door right here. So that was actually the head door. And closing that door, you can get access to drawers below the berth. And then now we have closed ourselves in the forward cabin, and we've got some big hanging lockers. So a lot of storage for clothes up here. This would be a good live aboard again for a single person or a couple, I would say. More storage. This is like a little vanity area. You know, you've got your seat and a little mirror right there for, you know, doing your hair or your makeup, potentially. Those lock in place there. Very nice. Got some sails. This is in storage mode, so you're gonna have to forgive that. But very good looking boat. Not the biggest fan of the vinyl headliner, the old vinyl headliner, but it is what it is. And then we had the head door closed, but I just went ahead and opened the head door. And then looking at the head, again, not the biggest head that I've ever seen. It is a wet head, but it's got everything you need, nothing you don't. And it is accessible and, you know, usable. So there's that. And then going aft, so this is pretty cool. Nice little forward cabin with an ensuite head, and then coming into the main salon. So taking a look at this, very comfortable looking main salon. There is an L-shaped settee to starboard and a straight settee right here to port. You're gonna have storage behind and below both these settees, as well as equipment room. You've got little cabinets and shelves behind them, and a table right here that can open as well as become a berth. So this entire thing could become a double berth. After that, you've got the little U-shaped galley. Everything in this boat is high quality, but just not very big, to be honest. You know, this is a good boat for a solo sailor or a couple. I wouldn't put any more than 2 people in this boat, but it's got everything you need and nothing you don't. You got your gimbaled stove, your double sink, and your cold storage, and lots of storage all around. You even have these upper cabinets. Seeing upper cabinets like this in smaller boats is really nice, because it's going to give you a little more storage. And to be honest, it's not very common to see these, and I like what they do. You know, they kind of break up the space a bit and they give you extra storage. So they really make the galley feel like the galley and give you that extra space. So that's pretty nice. The engine's going to be below the ladder there. We're going to look at that in a little bit. And then to port, there is a forward facing nav station here. This is going to be your electrical and your instrument hub, as well as your pretty much your office if you live aboard and you work from home. But again, it's just big enough to be functional. It does look like it would be somewhat comfortable to sit right there and get some navigation or get some work done. Little cabinet down there. Everywhere you look, there's little cabinets. So this boat is definitely, you know, using as much of the space that it can. Cabinet down here as well. and a quarter berth. So you've got your quarter berth aft of that nav station. So your quarter berth right here is probably going to be your sea berth as well. When you're on a passage, you're probably going to want to sleep right here. Right now it is storage, obviously, since we are on the hard. So yeah, so relatively quickly I was able to access the engine there. So, you know, fairly simple, fairly straightforward. You just pull off the stairs and then you open up the top and the forward there, and you've got your Yanmar diesel engine. Good engine access, and yeah, pretty simple to get to. One thing I did want to mention is that you've got some pretty obvious water damage on the cabin sole here. So the cabin sole's definitely going to need a bit of work. To what extent, I'm not sure, and I don't see that it comes up necessarily that easily. You might have to remove like the table to have it come up over here. So I can't take a look at the bilges right now, but I would definitely recommend, if you are interested in purchasing this vessel, to get a good survey. I did go ahead and remove that part of the cabin sole, so you've got access to a seacock there, and it looks like probably the deepest portion of the bilge down there. So there you have it. So I'll tell you what, there is obviously a bit of water damage right there, but one thing you notice is this cabin sole is about that thick, so it can probably likely be saved with a little bit of work. All right, guys, it's time for the full continuous below decks walkthrough from bow to stern.
So, what do you think? Personally, I feel this is a great boat for a solo sailor or a couple with no kids. It's pretty small for a 37, but don't let that discourage you. She's a quality blue water cruiser built to go anywhere in a relatively affordable way. My main concern is the water damage on the cabin sole, but that's fixable. If you're interested in this boat, be sure to get a good survey to know what you're getting into. As with all of our videos, the current asking price and broker contact information will be in the description below. Remember to do all the usual things, and I'll see you in the next one.
I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little while.